Hi everybody, thank you for watching. I'm really excited for today's video because it's going to be my first ever dupes video. So for my dupes video, I have some eyeshadow palettes, eyeshadows, lipsticks, makeup brushes, where I have found other products like extremely similar to one another, but one is maybe a little bit more affordable, maybe a little bit more easier to find, that sort of thing. I really enjoy watching dupes videos because I like seeing what is similar to one another, and you know, if there's places where maybe I could save my money. I've never been able to make one myself, and I think it's because you know, my makeup collection has been pretty small before I started a YouTube channel, and through my time being on YouTube, I've definitely gained a pretty good makeup collection, and I feel like I've been able to find more that way. And as my collection grows, I'm like, oh, this is similar to this and that's similar to that. So this is why I get to make my first dupes video. So I'm really excited to show you all of the dupes that I have found. So I know I have a lot to talk about, so why don't we go ahead and jump into it. So first up, I want to talk about makeup brushes. I have a couple of dupes here that I could share with you guys, and I just think makeup brushes are super important because I use makeup brushes every single day. A lot of times in dupes videos, I don't necessarily see brushes being talked about, and I'm like, why not? I love makeup brushes. I love to buy makeup brushes. I have a couple of dupes that I think maybe could be helpful. So first I'm gonna start with a couple of eye brushes. So this one is the E40. It is from Sigma Beauty. I absolutely love Sigma Beauty. I was buying from Sigma before I even started my YouTube channel. I really enjoy Sigma Beauty. So this is the E40, which is just a really big fluffy blending brush, and then the dupe that I have for it is from Morphe, which I really love Morphe. I'm wearing a lot of Morphe on my face right now, actually. I really enjoy Morphe. I think they have really good quality products, but for good prices, so I appreciate that. So the dupe for the E40 is the M441. Again, it's just another really big fluffy blending brush. I use these almost every single day. It just depends on like which one is dirty, and I'll use the clean one, and then I wash the dirty one, and then I use the clean, and that's how I do it. But I have to use a big fluffy brush almost every single day. So I think these are great dupes for one another. So the Sigma E40 is $17, and the Morphe M441 is $5.99. So there's definitely a very good price difference there. The only thing that I will say, like, I love Sigma and I think they have great quality brushes. I like Morphe and I think they have good quality brushes, but sometimes they can be a little bit hit or miss. Sometimes my Morphe brushes are great and fantastic. They don't fall apart. Sometimes when I'm cleaning, they can get a little bit on the wild and crazy side. You can see the difference here with them. I know that they're a different color, but this one has retained its shape pretty well. And this one, like, some of the bristles are kind of going a little bit everywhere and are a little crazy, and when I wash it, some of the bristles fall out. You know, that's why the brush is $5.99 compared to the Sigma at $17. So just mentioning that, but otherwise I think they're really good dupes for one another. Love Sigma, love Morphe. I think these are both great brushes, but they're very similar to one another. I have two more eye brushes, again from Sigma and from Morphe. These guys I feel like are practically identical. So from Sigma we have the E25 blending brush, and then from Morphe we have the M433, again another great crease brush. The Sigma brush is going to be $16. The Morphe brush again is $5.99. These guys are pretty much identical, like in shape, and you know, the job that they get done, they both do really, really well. And if you'd be able to tell from the close-up, the Morphe just doesn't hold the shape as well. And when you wash it, the bristles can, you know, the bristles fall out and that sort of thing, and it's a little bit harder to get the shape back, whereas after you wash the Sigma one, it just bounces right back into place and has no problem. Again, that's why there's the price difference, and they're both really good brushes. I would definitely recommend them both. I actually have two of the Sigma E25s because I really love these brushes. Like, these types of crease brushes are ones that I just have to use every single day. So these are another dupe for one another. Two more brushes. These are going to be face brushes, and again, they are Sigma and Morphe. So from Sigma, this is the Concealer Blend Kabuki, the F79 brush, and this is $23. And then from Morphe, this is the G2, and I use this brush for concealer as well. So these aren't exact dupes for one another, but they are very, very close in their shapes. You can see the Morphe one is just a little bit bigger. I actually got the G2 first, and I loved it for blending out my under eye concealer. It was like all I used, didn't even use a beauty blender. Like, I loved this brush so much. But then when I got the F79, it really replaced my G2. Like, I actually can't remember the last time I used my G2. Like, I travel with this brush. I use this brush very, very frequently. The G2 is kind of like, what happened to me over here? I like it because it is smaller, and I think it has a better tip to it. So when you're getting up in there under your eye, I don't feel like I'm blending too much of the concealer away, if that makes sense. Like I'm not blending it too far down because it's just a little bit smaller and more precise. I just think it does a better job blending out the concealer. But also this one, I have used it to like blend out cream contour before too. You can do whatever you want with your makeup brushes. Just because it says it's for this job does not mean that's the only job that your makeup brush can do. But again, these were very, very similar, and when I got the F79, I was like, oh my gosh, it's just like the G2. I just like it just a smidge better just because it's smaller, but these are really good dupes for one another. So next I have some eyelashes to talk about. If you guys know me, I love eyelashes. I've been wearing them since I even really knew how to properly put eyelashes on. I love eyelashes, and I think I found a good dupe for one another, so I had to put them in this video, obviously, because it's a dupes video. So one of my favorite pair of lashes is from Huda Beauty, and it is the Samantha lash. I love these eyelashes. I think they are gorgeous. I picked them up because there were so many recommendations on them, and I love them. Recently, my friend here on YouTube, Kelly from K Bella Beauty, she sent me a birthday package. My birthday was last month, and she put in a pair of lashes that I've been wanting to try for so long. She put in the Queen Bee lashes from Koko Lashes, and when I saw them, I was like, okay, these look really similar to Samantha, and then I put them on, and I was like, not only do I think that they're really similar to one another, I honestly think the Koko lashes are better. Like, I prefer them. Since I've gotten the Koko lashes, I don't know if I've worn the Samantha lashes since then. Seriously. And for the Huda lashes, they are $20. I believe the Koko lashes are $7.99. I think they are super, super similar to one another, but the Koko lashes, I think, just have a little bit of a boost. But I was really excited to find that out, because now, like, every time that I have to buy a new pair of Samantha lashes, I'm like, oh my gosh, $20. I make sure to wear the crap out of the lashes until they literally disintegrate in my fingertips, because $20 for lashes. So now that I found these and they're $7.99, I'm gonna be like Luster Lux and make it rain Queen Bees all over me. Let's move into some lipsticks, because those always seem to be like the most exciting part of dupes videos. And maybe that's just because of me and I'm a lipstick junkie. Maybe I just made that up and I'm the only one who gets excited about lipstick dupes. That could be it. For the first one that I want to talk about, I found a dupe for actually two higher end lipsticks. And it's funny because when I put on the more affordable product, I was like, this kind of looks like this lipstick and this lipstick, but I didn't even realize the two high-end lipsticks looked like one another. It was very confusing. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. So from Anastasia Beverly Hills, she has the shade Ashton. It's a really cool color, and even though I don't love the Anastasia formula, I mentioned that in my lipstick declutter video, I liked this color so much that I definitely wanted to keep it. I didn't realize until just the other day that it is actually very similar to the Huda Beauty liquid lipstick in Trendsetter. I'm gonna have swatches inserted in here so I can show you guys, because especially with liquid lipsticks, it takes them so long to dry that I could be here forever like waving my arm around waiting for these to dry. So I realized that these colors are very similar to one another. The formulas are not similar to one another. This is mostly just colors I'm talking about here. Huda Beauty is very thin and liquidy type of formula. Anastasia is very thick, moussey type of formula, but the colors are very similar. So I just bought a liquid lipstick from Morphe. I bought a couple of them, but when I put Peanut on, I realized that I thought Peanut could pass as a dupe for these guys. I would say formula-wise, this is going to be closer to the Huda Beauty formula. It's not as thin, and it's definitely not as liquidy. Like, I don't think I've ever tried a liquid lipstick that's as liquidy as Huda Beauty, but in terms of formula, these guys are going to be closer to one another. The Anastasia is just super, super moussey, but color-wise, once they dry down, all three of them are very, very similar to me. I thought that was kind of fun to find an affordable dupe for two high-end options here. Again, we're talking mostly just colors here, not so much formula. So for the prices, both the Anastasia and Huda Beauty are going to be $20. This is a mini size because I got it in a lip contour set, but if you were to buy the full size, it would be $20. And the Morphe liquid lipstick is $12.99. There's always a Morphe discount floating around there, so probably like $10, $11 for the liquid lipstick. So color-wise, all three of these, very similar. So the next one that I want to talk about, the higher end option, is from Too Faced. It's one of their melted liquefied long wear lipsticks, and it is in the shade Chihuahua. I talked about this in my lipstick declutter that I actually don't like this formula at all, but I was keeping it around just for a hot minute because I wanted to put it in my dupes video. So the dupe that I found for this guy, which is $21, the dupe I found for it is from Maybelline. It's from their Color Jolts, and it is in Strip Down. The colors aren't exactly like spot on dupes, but they are really, really close to one another. And I find like the actual finish of these guys and kind of how they feel on the lips are super, super similar, except I like the Maybelline way more. I do not like this formula. I feel like it bleeds on the lips and it's gonna transfer everywhere. Like it gets on everything. I tried to wear one of the shades to a concert one day and my friend had to keep coming up to me and being like, dude, lipstick all over your chin. And I'm like, what is happening here? This is super annoying. With the Maybelline, I feel like it just doesn't go anywhere and the color lasts for a really long time. It's super comfortable on the lips. Again, this one is $21. This one, since you can find it at the drugstores, it just kind of is going to depend on where you can find it at. Looking online, I see prices anywhere from $6.99 to $9.99, but again, that's a freaking bargain compared to this, and I would definitely recommend the Maybelline over the Too Faced. So the next one I wanted to include, even though I don't think I found an exact dupe for it, but it's because when I mentioned doing a dupes video, so many people asked me if I could find a dupe for this lipstick, and I tried really hard. I went through my whole collection and swatched. Like the one day my arm was just full of swatches because I was trying so hard to find a dupe. So the one that everyone wants to find a dupe for is Kylie Cosmetics, and it's her matte liquid lipstick in Candy K. I mentioned several times that this is one of my favorite lipsticks. I love it. I wear it so much. It is the most long-lasting liquid lipstick that I have in my collection. It's a beautiful pink shade. The only downside I think to Kylie's products is that she changes her formula so much that you just don't know what you're gonna get. I bought another liquid lipstick from her thinking I was going to get the same formula as Candy K. It was completely different. I decluttered it in my video. I was like, girl, bye. I do not like you. I like this. These are $17 if you buy a single shade instead of buying a lip kit. I went through my entire collection. I tried so hard to find something that I thought could be a dupe. The closest one that I could find is from Colourpop, and it is in the shade Clueless, which is one of their ultra matte lips. These are $6. Now, Kylie Cosmetics and Colourpop, a lot of people compare these. They're under the same parent company, I think is the wording that I'm supposed to use there. A lot of times their packaging can be really similar, and definitely there's products that I've tried from Colourpop and then Kylie that I'm like, these are, you know, super similar. And definitely I feel like the ultra mattes are in that category, but one thing that I'll also say is that it can get really hard to review not only Kylie but also Colourpop because they constantly change their formulas. It is super confusing, especially as a blogger and a reviewer trying to review products, and I'm like, Candy K is the best thing ever. Kylie makes amazing liquid lipsticks, and then I buy another one, it's completely different, and I'm like, hold that thought. Ooh, now I feel like I'm lying to you guys. And Colourpop is the same. I have a ton of Colourpop liquid lipsticks. I've done a Colourpop collection video. You saw all my Colourpops in my declutter video. I have a ton from them, and the formulas are just all over the place. Some are great, some are terrible, some are so-so. I would say both companies have that. So that is something that I want to point out. The colors, again, I don't think are super, super similar, but this was probably the closest dupe that I could find in my personal collection. So I wanted to share that because I was getting so many people asking me about a dupe for Kylie Candy, but it's really hard to comment on the formulas and say if the formulas are similar because they're constantly changing. So that part I don't know about, but they are dupes in that way. Get what I did there. But again, Kylie is $17, Colourpop is $6, so definitely much more affordable to go with Colourpop, and they're more easily accessible than Kylie because her stuff is always so hard to get. So speaking of Kylie and Colourpop, their lip liners I feel like are pretty much the same thing. Formula-wise, they feel the same. I feel like they wear the same. I don't even feel like, you know, Kylie wears longer or is more comfortable or more pigmented or anything like that. They truly feel pretty much the same. And the Kylie lip liner is $14 and a Colourpop lip liner is $5. So not only do I think the formulas are, you know, pretty much right there with one another. The Candy K, which I got my Candy K in the lip kit, so this came, but you can buy it in a single now. So I have the Candy K, and then in Colourpop I have Oh Snap, and I feel like these shades are pretty darn similar to one another. I don't think they're exactly the same, but I think they're pretty similar. I'm kind of that like pink nude. The formulas are just so darn similar. So if you're a huge lip liner person and you wear lip liners and you just love to buy lip liners, I would definitely say save your money and buy the Colourpop because you're getting basically the same thing as the Kylie. The last two lipsticks that I have to talk about, I'm super excited to talk about because when I first started watching YouTube videos, I don't even think I had a channel yet. I was watching Kathleen Lights and she mentioned this dupe, and I actually went out and bought the dupe for the more high-end option, and I just got the higher end option. So let me tell you what I'm talking about. So this is MAC's Velvet Teddy. Now, once again, my good friend Kelly from K Bella Beauty, she put this in my birthday package as well, along with the Koko lashes, and I had never tried a MAC lipstick before. And sometimes it was kind of hard because people will ask me, you know, does that compare to the MAC formula? And I'm like, I don't know, I've never tried the MAC lipsticks. I just never have. I have a lip liner from them, oddly enough, but I do not have any of their lipsticks. So I was super excited, and when she sent me Velvet Teddy, I was like, this was the one that I've always wanted to try, so that was super cool, and a huge thank you to her. But the dupe that Kathleen Lights mentioned all these years ago was the Wet n Wild Bare It All. So the Bare It All is one of the Mega Last lip colors from Wet n Wild, and I got mine for $1.99. $1.99. And then the MAC Velvet Teddy, the MAC lipsticks are going to be $17. That is a huge price difference, and you can see from the swatches that I'm going to insert that these shades are super similar to one another. I think Kathleen was right when she said that these could definitely pass as dupes for one another. Now, I have only put Velvet Teddy on my lips 2 times. I just recently had this sent to me, so I haven't been able to wear it a whole lot, and this I've had for like several years. It probably should be thrown away, but I knew when I was doing my declutter, I was like, I have to put this in my dupes video. But I love the Wet n Wild. It's super comfortable. It's almost like moisturizing on the lips. The shade is beautiful. When I just need a nice nude lipstick, I wear Bare It All from Wet n Wild. I do think the MAC formula is a little bit on the drying side, and I feel like you can maybe even see in the swatches that the Wet n Wild just looks like it has a bit more of a sheen to it, where I don't feel like there was a sheen with the Velvet Teddy. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but I would say because of that, the Wet n Wild feels almost a little bit more moisturizing, where the MAC feels a little bit more drying. So that's what I can say so far formula-wise on them. I would say the MAC lasts a little bit longer, which I feel like is going to be the case in that situation. Again, they're both beautiful colors. I was super excited to test this out because this was like the original dupe that I bought, you know what I'm saying? So it was so cool that I was able to like test them out myself and put them in my own dupes video and let you guys know what I think. But yeah, I think these are a great dupe for one another. So I have a couple eyeshadow shades that I want to talk about, and I kind of debated putting them in there because I don't know if they're like the traditional dupe, but for me, they are what I found works better, and I kind of wanted to share it with you because I actually enjoy the more affordable option a lot more than I enjoy what was more expensive. So I mentioned the Anastasia Beverly Hills Single Shadows in my top 5 best and worst eyeshadow palettes, and you know, this is kind of a little palette that I made myself. The matte shadows from Anastasia I liked. I think they're great and I use them all the time. The 2 shimmers that I got were super disappointing to me. They're in Pink Champagne and then also in Henna. Pink Champagne just does not show up on my eyes very well. Henna, while it's very pretty, has a ton of fallout, like to the point where I just don't even want to use henna because the fallout is so extreme. I think I have found really close dupes to these eyeshadows in the Morphe 350 palette, which was also mentioned in my top 5 best and worst, and it was in the best category because I love this palette and I think it is fantastic. So once I realized that I was super disappointed with the Anastasia shadows, and as I kept playing with the Morphe palette, I was like, I think these shades are super similar to what I was hoping these Anastasia shadows would be, and I found them in the Morphe palette. For Pink Champagne, this shade right here I think is a really good dupe. This one I feel like is more like on the peachy side, where I think Pink Champagne tries to be a little bit more on the pink side. But again, I think that they're really similar to one another, and when I'm trying to get like the Pink Champagne look that I want it to be on my eyes, if I use this shade, which I don't know if you guys can see it on camera, there's a huge dent in that eyeshadow because I love it and it's one of my favorites, and it's what I was hoping Pink Champagne was going to be. And then for Henna, which looks like this really beautiful like foiled shadow, kind of orange, almost like a fire type of shadow. Again, it's a nice shadow, but the fallout is so extreme, like it's crazy, and I feel like it fades a lot faster than this Morphe one. So again, it's going to be in the same row as that other eyeshadow, and it's going to be the very last one. I'll insert the swatches so you can see, and I just think they are really similar to one another, but I like the Morphe one again way more. I don't need to even use like Fix Plus or anything with this eyeshadow. There's like barely any fallout to it. It shows up so well. It's super pigmented. I think it's a long-lasting eyeshadow. Like, I just feel like those two shadows from this palette are way better than the Anastasia one. An Anastasia single shadow is going to run you $12. So for those two eyeshadows in there, that's $24 across the two eyeshadows. The entire Morphe 350 palette is $22.99. And again, there's always that 10% discount code with Morphe. So it's like, you can get those two fabulous shades plus all these other ones. Like this palette I love so much compared to the price that you're getting with the single shadows. Like, I just wanted to mention it, even though colors aren't like exact like 100% dupes for one another, they're still super similar enough to me that I wanted to mention it, and you know, with the price difference, but also being that I reached for those two shades so much because they were actually what I wanted these single shadows to be, and I didn't get it, so I was able to find a better alternative. So I wanted to mention those. Again, $12 for the single shadows, $22.99 for 35 eyeshadows. The last dupe I want to talk about, I've mentioned the dupe in a past video, and it sparked a lot of curiosity. There's been a lot of controversy around this particular item. So what I'm talking about is the Kat Von D Shade and Light eyeshadow palette compared to the Makeup Revolution Light and Shade palette. Okay, so I don't even know what to say about these. I bought this off Ulta because I wanted to see if it was a dupe for the Kat Von D. And when you open them, I mean, it's not even that they are similar to one another. They're just basically the same thing. And Kat Von D has actually put out a video talking about it, and I think it was called like dupes versus ripoffs. I watched the video and it was really interesting to hear what she had to say. And you know, I think Makeup Revolution, I'm not super familiar with this brand. I don't have a lot from them, but definitely from what I've seen and just looking at what they have to offer, it seems like this is what they like to do. They like to dupe. But Kat Von D had some really good points in there of, you know, how long it took her to come up with this concept and to create this palette, and, you know, to put in the quads and to match the eyeshadows together, and, you know, the artistry that goes into making the eyeshadow palette. I really understood what she had to say. I thought it was a really interesting video. Basically the exact same thing, and Kat Von D's is the Shade and Light palette, Makeup Revolution is the Light and Shade palette. Is it a dupe? Is it a ripoff? You guys can let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I will be inserting swatches. I did swatches by each quad in here. What I will say is that for the actual products, they are extremely, extremely similar. For the first row, I remember thinking that the lighter shades actually swatched a little bit better in the Makeup Revolution palette. They are just a little bit more pigmented than the Kat Von D. In the second quad, the black here is 10 times better in the Kat Von D palette. It doesn't swatch well. It also doesn't wear very well on the eyes, because I have used every single shade in this palette as well. I've used every single shade in this palette. Black is much, much better. The grays are even more pigmented. I think the white, again, is better. I don't know why like such the lighter shades in this palette I feel like are better. I do think in these first two quads, they are super similar shades to one another, but they're not exactly the same. The last quad, I think, was the most similar shade-wise to one another. They were extremely, extremely close. Shading-wise, obviously with the Kat Von D, you have this really cool artwork. You know, Kat Von D is an artist. She does all of her own artwork, and she does an amazing job at it. So you get that. You get a really nice mirror. Like, this is a really nice palette to travel with, filled with wonderful matte neutral shades. Like, this is one of my favorite palettes. I put it in my top 5 in my best and worst eyeshadow palettes. It's an amazing palette, and I recommend it all the time. So you get a mirror and you get the bigger eyeshadows. Definitely more of a sturdier eyeshadow palette, if that makes sense, where with the Makeup Revolution, you don't get a mirror, you don't get any of the artwork, and it definitely is like very flimsy. Like, this part is plastic. You can tell, you know, that it's just not quite there. I believe this one did come with a brush. I don't really use brushes from eyeshadow palettes, but I believe that one came with a brush where the Kat Von D did not. The Kat Von D is going to run you $48, and the Makeup Revolution is $15. So do I think they're dupes for one another? Yes. I mean, 100% yes. Not only just looks wise, but the actual eyeshadow shades are super, super similar to one another across the board. Very, very close. So if you do not want to spend the $48 for the Kat Von D palette, like you don't want to do it, you like the more affordable options, but you still want this type of palette, definitely you could get the Makeup Revolution and you're going to be getting something extremely, extremely similar. That being said, like if I had to pick which one was better, I do have to say the Kat Von D is better, and even though since I've gotten this one, I still will reach for the Kat Von D. The shades are just a little bit more pigmented. What I'll say about the shades in the Kat Von D is that they are much more blendable. These blend well, but the Kat Von D blends like, I mean, it's hard to compare the Kat Von D eyeshadows and how well they blend and how well they blend with each other. So that's definitely a quality there. And I just think the shades are obviously a better quality than what you're getting in the Makeup Revolution. Again, the Makeup Revolution, extremely similar, and if you just don't want to spend the price, you could definitely get this palette if you're not worried about the mirror or packaging or things like that. You get something extremely similar in this palette. So that is the last dupe that I wanted to talk about. I know a lot of people were curious to get my feedback between these two palettes, so hopefully that was helpful. But again, I would say to check out Kat Von D's video, and I'd love to hear your thoughts down below on the whole dupe versus ripoff thing, because I thought the video was super interesting. I also thought her cat was super interesting. If you're on my Snapchat, you know what I'm talking about, because that cat threw me through quite the loop. But after those two eyeshadow palettes, that is going to do it for my first dupes video. Alright guys, that's going to be everything for my very first dupes video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video or found it helpful. Like I said, I know not all of them are exact 100% dupes for one another, but I went through my collection, and as I'm getting a bigger collection, I think I'm able to find more products that are similar to one another. So hopefully for my first video, I did a good enough job. I hope that you guys liked it. Let me know in the comments down below, do you have any of these products as well, and have you found them to be dupes for one another, or what are some of your favorite dupes? If you did enjoy this video, I hope that you will give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe before you go, and I'll catch you guys real soon in my next one. Bye.